I didn't always make videos on these like funny, organic, low-key moments. I didn't always have people submitting me amazing content to make videos on either. It all started with one very specific thing. And that was a time when we were doing Freehold back in season 4 Battle for Azeroth, and we had a mage leave because we decided to pull a certain thing first, and he just didn't want to do that, I guess. So within seconds of the key being put in, the key disbanded. That was the first moment I realized like something has to change. This is ridiculous. Looking back at that to this day, it's still probably one of the worst things we've ever seen. But it's really sad to say that like at the time it was totally shocking and I couldn't believe it happened. And now I get submitted stuff like this constantly. Yeah, we have actually 3 clips of this I'm going to show you guys today. We're going to start with potentially like the tamest of them. And that's saying it lightly. Let's start here. All right, so we're starting with Waycrest 20. This is actually like a couple minutes into the dungeon now. This is 4 minutes into the dungeon. This is the first boss. There is already 2 deaths. I don't know exactly what's gone on up until this point, but I can't imagine it's anything too severe. But we are going to leave the room and you won't be able to tell. Probably, yeah, it never actually enters the shop, but one of these packs is still up on the side. This is something we used to do all the time in BFA, leave one of these packs up. It's hard to exactly see, but like you can see, just keep an eye on this warlock right now. I don't know if you're going to actually be able to see anything at all in the footage here, but maybe down here in the mini map, you can kind of see what's going to happen here. But the tank is going to continue on with the dungeon. He clearly intends to not pull whatever pack is left. Maybe even both packs are left in that room. I have no idea. And here it comes. All right. And then you're going to take a look at this down here, and the warlock is going to die to that. Then he is going to leave the party. This is 4 minutes and 40 seconds into the key, but I can't actually see how it gets aggroed. I'm just making an assumption here based on the fact that the warlock dies to it, that he like intentionally pulls it. This may not be correct, but regardless, 4 minutes into the key, this guy, whose name by the way is Done Playing. I mean, like, come on, man. It's actually crazy how many of these situations we have with these people who are clearly impatient, clearly totally self-serving. Like, they do not care about anybody else other than themselves. They actually have names for telling their failures. It's actually wild. This has happened so many times over the years now, but that is not the end of the story. Then after the key was over, this happens. The tank, he whispers the guy, he says, "Why did you pull that?" As only somebody named Done Playing could say. Instead of actually giving a reason, he says, "Learn to tank. You pulled a random pack and then left, lol." He says, "Tank it correct or have people leave. Simple." Tank what correct? What, like, what what is going on here? Do you really think we weren't going to time that? I just don't think people care anymore. Like, for years the defense was always like, well, I won't stay if the key's out of time. But like, meanwhile, we're 4 minutes into a 20 Waycrest fortified. It's like, yeah, okay, there's no, that excuse just doesn't exist anymore in season 3. I'm not gonna read this, but yeah, this guy's saying some really silly things. He says, "Your line of sighting every pull and chaining dumb shit, then missing the corner pull. I don't need a dumbass who can't do a 20. I don't even know, like, chaining, what are we talking about chaining? Like, we're 4 minutes into the dungeon. There's only 9% count so far. I have no idea what this guy's on about. This definitely would have been one to record a little bit longer, but yes, you never know what actually happened before that, but regardless, it doesn't really matter. We're 9% count into the dungeon, 4 minutes into the dungeon. This guy's just frustrated before the key starts, right? Like, that's all there is to it. Saying the tank can't do a 20 because of how he's pulling Waycrest, like, that is just really asinine, honestly. But it's really the audacity to leave this early in a dungeon that really bothers me. But anyway, we got a couple more to show. This one's like honestly the tamest of all 3. Let's take a look at the next one. Okay, back in Waycrest, this is actually a 23 now. This is even higher, and honestly, this is so much worse than the previous one. It's really disheartening to see. We have literally like non-elites as the first pull in this dungeon. It's such an easy pull. Like, this really, I don't know. It's unfortunate. I know there's better ways to start the dungeon, but again, like a 23 pug, let's just go ahead and just go in a straight line and get our easy upgrade here. You may see the DPS chart. It's not great. Yeah, I mean, it's a little concerning, but again, a full pull of non-elites, I don't think it matters what the DPS looks like, and that guy disagrees. As you see, somebody has already left the party, and this guy leaves at 36:17, so he literally didn't even make it a full minute. This guy's gonna leave within less than 1 minute of combat, and again, it's not done. There's always got to be a follow-up, huh? So these guys start talking about it in chat. They are obviously not happy that this guy just left like 40 seconds into a dungeon. Funniest part about this is the guy actually scrolls up to before the key when he said to him, as part of like the invite qualifications, "I will guarantee top DPS and performance." This guy said that to somebody forming a group for 23 as an arms warrior. "I guarantee top DPS and performance." Then leaves 40 seconds into a dungeon. So the group leader says, great top performance there. Like, I mean, like, literally, how could you even say that when you're willing to leave 40 seconds into a dungeon? You actually did the worst possible performance any player could ever do. The weirdest part is the guy says sorry as his first response to this. But he says the tank and the mage taking turns in being garbage. I mean, I don't even know how, like, what can you blame the tank for there? That is insane. He goes, I didn't even use CDs. That was Bladestorm only. Again, this is the guy who was talking about guaranteeing top DPS, willingly admitting not using CDs on the first pack of a dungeon. I have to love though when like the conversations we have so frequently bleed over into each other. Like, we're talking about like the ridiculous levers and we're talking about Fire Mage at the same time. Like, yeah, straight up, bro, the Fire Mage is losing to a healer on this first pack. That's unfortunate. You know, maybe the counter argument could be made here. He didn't use CDs either. Like, did you think about that? You just said you didn't use CDs. Maybe that guy didn't either. So that one being like in a 23, like it's a little bit like, I hate to say it, but it's like a little bit more expected. It's really, really unfortunate that we have to say that at this point. But like, you know, the higher up you go, the more tense people are, the more on edge people are. I really don't know why you would even play, like, especially when you're trying to put yourself out there in that way. Like, hey, listen, I'm a great pick, man. I promise you, I will be the best player in this group. And then you do that. It's almost like if it's intentionally trolling. I don't know how else to even look at that. But anyway, we do have another one. And I do, even though this one's like really, really bad, I do regard the next one as actually way, way worse. And you'll see why now. All right, back home here in Ataldazar. Welcome to the Disband Central of Battle for Azeroth. We are immediately going to see the chat here. We're talking about going left and using drums. Paladin, just hero on first pull. If you're slow on the hero, I'll just drums. Like if this fucking 11 Ataldazar is going to require you to press drums instead of the Ogvoker. So yeah, we're going to just go ahead and pull this first pack. This is 6 enemies. I've seen this done way more aggressively, and they're going to Bloodlust. The Evoker does it properly. We're missing some key kicks already. But yeah, the enemies are dying very quickly. Obviously, it's an 11. We're going to keep on chaining at this point. This is the tank, the guy who was talking about, you know, if you don't Bloodlust, I will handle it for you kind of thing. I will reduce our potential efficacy just because that's how important this first pack is. Now he's going to chain after Bloodlust is almost over. He's going to pull probably the hardest part of this area altogether here. I mean, it's a low-key pug. We have 2 Warlocks and an Evoker, so this is like pretty much as bad as an interrupt comp can get. We have a Disc Priest, but at least we have a prop pally, so we should probably, you know, not have too many issues with interrupts. But yeah, no, that's not happening, of course. This is why pulling left is dangerous, and this is why, you know, especially on a low key, it can be a bad idea. And there we go. That is the end of the key. 2 dats, and somebody has the left. Guy is gonna actually go ahead and leave, yeah, within like a minute and a half. Like, we're not even 2 minutes into the dungeon. It's 1 pull. We haven't even like fully wiped yet. Like, straight up, there's 2 dats. Like, we're not even wiping here. It's a freaking 11. But it again doesn't end there. Then the tank, who was barking orders about Bloodlust before the key, says, ha 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 ha. Plebs, I was the only one CCing. Yeah, no shit, bro. You're in a group with 2 Warlocks and an Evoker. You're like literally the only one. I mean, like, he's straight up the only one who could do anything. Like, then the guy who's actually recording this and submitting this to Brecht, he says, at this level, you should go right side. It's pug friendly. And yeah, obviously you might have heard me talk about this many, many times. This is just so stupid. Like, if you're gonna go left, talk about like bloodlusting because somebody's slow or something like that with pressing the spell, and then like brag about being the only person who's interrupting when you have 2 Warlocks. I don't understand any of it. I probably never will. The Warlock, though, is trying to defend himself. Say, I CC'd all I could. The Paladin says, yeah, only 2 times. Like, brother, you're in combat for 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's pretty much the theoretical maximum the Warlock could do. I don't know what he wants them to do. At least the other guy just left. Like, he didn't even say anything. But like, this behavior on an 11 is despicable. I cannot stand this. It's one thing when we're talking about higher keys where the expectation is like only success. Pugging is not for failure. I do not want to have an untimed key on my record. I won't get invited to other keys. Bro, it's an 11. Like, I mean, like, we could literally wipe here 3 more times. Bloodlust could be back up. We'll do it again and still upgrade the key very easily. It honestly looks like they're trying to speed run a disband. That's the only way I can think of it. Like, they're trying to fail as fast as possible, and as soon as that opportunity presents, they press the button. We're not here to succeed. We're not here to improve. We're not here to fight or claw our way back to success. Basically just totally antithetical to actual competitive atmosphere. These people are frankly not fit for Mythic Plus, and they are certainly not fit for pugging. What else can you say? I don't really know. It actually became very obvious to me. I've been working with Harry. He's been looking to play Blood DK. We're going to be streaming that again, hopefully soon. I've been coaching him. He's playing Blood DK for the first time. We've been doing the low keys to get his character set up to start doing higher keys, and it is actually wild, like how many actual mistakes you can have on these lower keys, how easy they actually are, and you could still easily succeed, yet people still act like this. I think big part of it is the anonymity. I think they think they're getting away with it. I think they think like, oh, if we can just run away from the situation, nobody ever gets hurt by it. I've been encouraging people all season now to not let them get away with it. Make them realize that they did something selfish. Make them realize that what they're doing is unacceptable behavior, that they are harming the pug atmosphere, and just force them to think about it. Like, there's not much you can do, but you can definitely force them to think about it. These guys always try to defend themselves, and it is always embarrassing. I've yet to see one guy actually make like a lucid point. If you force them to think about it enough, then they will eventually realize that what they're doing is actually harming themselves as well as everybody else. They will have to face that. If every single time they do that, they're facing that, it will eventually create negative feedback in their head. And it's just the best thing we can do right now, man, because this is totally out of whack. But anyway, season's coming up to the end, so wild stuff's going on out there. If you guys are running especially low keys, please consider recording them. Send them to me as the last vestiges of reality slip away from some of these players. We should be back this week with some more regular streams. Hopefully me and Harry can get together as well. Like I said, we do some lower keys, but we are trying to get him up into the 20 range. He wants to transition into a full-fledged tank, and I'm going to be along for the ride. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. If you guys have any great submissions out there, send them over. Otherwise, thank you for watching. We will see you guys in the next video.